Let me ask you a question. When I say think of Captain America, which one of these images comes to mind? That's right. This one. And that's the end of the video. But no, seriously, I want to take a look at why Sam Wilson can never truly be Captain America. To preface, the movie already has a lot of controversy and is expected to make very little money, from tons of reshoots that tell the signs of a script being badly written, pushing in characters and scenes that make no sense, such as Red Hulk vs. Falcon. Yes, I'm aware we haven't seen the film yet, but there's no way Sam is surviving a punch from the Red Hulk. To interviews that seem to showcase the film has political agendas.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations.
We'll come back to this. This is bad because the movie carries the legacy of Captain America, one of the founding Avengers, and is the first quote-unquote Captain America movie after Endgame. It holds a lot of weight, but most people already don't care about seeing it in the cinema, and there are a multitude of reasons as to why audiences don't see Sam Wilson as Captain America. Firstly, let's analyze the Falcon. As a character, he's not amazing, he's not spectacular, and he's not bad, he's simply good. We are introduced to Sam Wilson in The Winter Soldier as a former US Air Force pararescue airman who is no longer on active duty after losing his wingman Riley in action. We see him helping other veterans who suffer from PTSD. Already he's likable from this, and actually relates to Steve Rogers in the fact that they both fought for their country. Thus, Steve can feel less alone in this world. The next time we see him is when Steve and Natasha are on the run. Sam allows them to use his home as a hideout, and then wants to help them take down Hydra. This establishes Sam has the intentions to become a hero, and later in battle demonstrates he has what it takes overall to be a hero, which is why it's so easy for him to be recruited into the Avengers team. He wants to help Steve find Bucky, and then joins Steve's side against the Sokovia Accords, resisting government control over the Avengers team, and finally seeing him in Infinity War, teaming up with Rogers. So it's clear that Sam Wilson's ideology and perspectives during the Infinity Saga fall in line with Steve Rogers. Then the fall-off happens when he has his own show. Sam Wilson is presented as a naive, dumb, disconnected idiot.
A lot of money. I wonder how much I can get for your new bird costume.
Maybe a baguette, a few french fries.
Here we see a black person eating chicken and watermelon, a stereotype that hurts the African American community.
He states the flag smashers are not terrorists because calling them that means they are not being listened to and will thus cause more destruction. How about not killing innocent people for stupid reasons? When he's delivering his monologue, it shows how insanely disconnected he is from the real world. Sam believes they can fix everything in one go, like a phone call that would make all the difference, which is exactly what he says. The point he's trying to make is that rich people in power are bad and the government never listens. For example, the line, "You control the banks," is Sam suggesting that the rich people are hoarding all the money and not giving any resources to those who need it, and they could just easily help everyone financially. I cannot express how stupid this is. The world of Marvel and ours is so very, very different. Honestly, after the blip occurred, it is incredibly surprising that they even have somewhat of a functioning society. There's like a 1% chance that this would happen. Just imagine, if 50% of all life on Earth was gone, so the entire ecosystem is ruined, which massively impacts humans, the economy is potentially gone, fuel, transportation, food, shipping, farmers, healthcare industry, anything and everything you can think of, international laws would have to change and the laws of each country would have to adapt to the current situation. It's a complete mess. The problem with Falcon is that he is just incredibly dumb. He doesn't even answer the question of what to do regarding ownership of property. He just avoids it.
And the people who reappeared only to find someone else living in their family home, they just end up homeless?
Imagine if you were renting a house or bought it or had a mortgage, then you were wiped out from the blip. Come back and someone else is living there, and let's even say the landlord is back. Is the solution really as simple as one phone call, Sam? And the worst line in television history goes to,
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
I love how people are calling out the crap writing. If the senator resigns and offers his position to Sam, do you think he'd have any clue how to run things in this super complicated world? No, but he preaches out of spite for the government. Do you really think Captain America would act like this? I also want to showcase point B, which is that Sam is willing to let certain people die whom he doesn't like. Not that they did anything wrong or extremely bad, but simply because he personally has some small issue with them. In this case, it's with John Walker, the character most of the audience actually considered to be a hero and a good Captain America. In this fight scene, Sam chooses not to save John or Lamar, knowing that they have no powers, are against people who have taken the serum, and could actually die. If it wasn't for the plot convenience of a car magically appearing right behind the truck, John could have died. Falcon is even making jokes in the fight, knowing Bucky could be super injured or even die, and wasting time as John and Lamar continue fighting. Sam even gives John a look of disgust like, ugh, not this guy, when John literally saved his life. Think about that. Who's a better Captain America here? The guy with wings who wants to let those he simply dislikes die, make jokes in a field, and give up, even though him and Bucky could catch up to the truck again, or the guy with the shield who, after saving his friend's life, gets back up and into the fight despite being at a disadvantage? Do you really think Sam deserves being Captain America? Would the real Captain America act this way? Everything that was established about Falcon as a good, likable person has been thrown out of the window.
The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
It's also important to talk about the race card. There's a narrative employed in Falcon and the Winter Soldier that the government and civilians don't want Sam as Captain America because he is black. This stems from Isaiah, who was a super soldier for missions, and the government erased his history.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
There are so many flaws with this, the most obvious being if the government was that racist, why even have black people as test subjects and wanting to have successful results of creating another super soldier through them? It is also incredibly frustrating that the current writers of Marvel have never watched a Marvel movie besides Endgame. Let's go back to Captain America the First Avenger. After he's injected with the serum, the Colonel doesn't even want him in the army, and Steve is instead used as a propaganda tool to simply sell war bonds. He's an entertainer to civilians, especially children who read his comics. To women, he's a handsome actor. That's it. The government doesn't see him as some amazing super soldier. They literally see him as a salesman. When Steve gives the speech to soldiers on the front line, they hate him. Not dislike him for petty reasons, no, they hate him because he doesn't know anything about being on the front lines and is pandering a speech to those willing to sacrifice their own lives going through absolute hell to defend their country. So why should the soldiers listen to him? How do you think Steve Rogers feels in all of this? A scrawny kid who wanted to help people and defend his country, turning into a super soldier but used as a propaganda tool by the government and having the army hate him. The statement,
They will never let a black man be Captain America,
is notioning that everybody loves Steve because he was white, had blue eyes, blonde hair, and Falcon even mentions this, which, as we've just seen, is not the case. We see Steve literally drawing a dancing monkey on a wheel as Captain America. That's how he feels. The Colonel looks down on Steve, and he has a valid point, as Steve's presence does nothing except irritate the soldiers and commanders.
Most heavily fortified territory in Europe. We'd lose more men than we'd save. But I don't expect you to understand that because you're a chorus girl.
And yet, Steve chooses to defy the Colonel and attempt a rescue mission by himself, to which he is successful, saving a ton of lives, showing to his fellow brothers and commanders that he will do what it takes, can be a soldier, and will put himself right in the thick of battle. He earns their respect and proves that he can be an actual symbol of real inspiration, not a performer, and because of this, helps America win the war. In the later films, Steve questions the government and also goes against them, both in Winter Soldier and Civil War. He doesn't want to be a good boy and follow every single order. He values his own free will, his own judgment and integrity to do what's right. He knows governments may not make the best decisions and have corrupted individuals inside. Not all of the government likes Captain America.
What's gonna happen?
Same thing that ought to happen to you. Psychological evaluation and extradition.
This is Everett Ross, Deputy Task Force Commander.
What about a lawyer?
Lawyer, that's funny.
Secretary Ross wanted Cap prosecuted, and you can clearly get the notion some people in the government and United Nations would agree to this. Even in Infinity War, Ross still sees Captain America as a criminal and wants him arrested. Steve even states he's willing to fight Ross, the government, and whatever army it sends to stop him as he's trying to save the world. To add extra fuel to this point, Iron Man is known as the world's first superhero. The whole world is looking at him. All eyes are on him, especially America and its governments. His best friend Rhodey becomes Iron Patriot, as that's what the president and others in authority wanted him to be called and branded as, knowing he will represent America and have so many eyes on him, especially being Iron Man's closest friend. So, Is it really about race? Because this line comes across as weird when Steve represents people, especially American people, not the government. But he had to earn that. It wasn't handed to him because he was white and had blonde hair and blue eyes and it was easy. For Christ's sake, he earned it by fighting in World War II, which is insane by itself. That's why I believe Anthony Mackie and some writers at Marvel don't understand what Captain America is as a character.
You know, one of my favorite quotes from Sam is, "The only power I have is that I believe we can do better." And to me, that quote is like totally who Captain America is and what he's about. How much does that mindset shape Sam's leadership in Brave New World?
Well, it's a big part of his leadership because we have to realize, you know, all Sam has is himself.
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations.
Saying that America shouldn't be one of those representations is absurd. So when Captain America fought in World War II, what country should he have represented? I don't get why he has to take a dump on America. Why not just call yourself a different name like Captain Falcon? Another issue to talk about is that Falcon is a side character. He doesn't have his own movie regarding his origin and a huge arc. Rather, he is Steve Rogers' companion, and this was well received during the Infinity Saga. But his viewpoints, ideology, perspectives never get expanded upon. We don't actually know his stance on things for the most part and how he sees the world until the TV show. We get glimpses of it in Civil War through a few lines and his decision to stand with Steve Rogers, but that's it. This is a problem if he's the next Captain America, as Steve makes his own thoughts and what he represents pretty clear to a lot of people during the Infinity Saga. Steve Rogers was chosen because the Doctor believed that the serum would amplify the qualities already within him. He was the perfect candidate, and still, he had to prove himself to the army and the US government. He also had to prove himself to the Avengers, that he wasn't just some old fossil, but a competent, strong leader they could get behind and follow into battle. He earned these places and being a symbol for America. He fought for freedom, believed in doing the right thing, helping others, and inspiring them to be the best versions of themselves. There's a reason why Captain America is the one standing alone against Thanos' army. It's cemented in us that this is Captain America, the man who never gives up. Steve Rogers has been given such a developed and well-written arc in the MCU, the same cannot be said for Sam Wilson. Sam hasn't done anything to earn being the symbol and to also prove himself as the next Captain America. He's only made things worse by revealing his thoughts to the world.
The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
A lot of people argue that Bucky should have been the next Captain America, and initially when I watched Endgame, like many others, I was shocked at Steve's decision to choose Sam. Bucky was Steve's best friend who was back there with him in World War II, but after a while, I realized Bucky wouldn't be a good fit either. Just think about it. If Bucky Barnes from the MCU was the new Captain America, is he really on the same level as Cap in terms of inspiring others, giving speeches, being a leader for the Avengers, etc.? No. His personality is totally different from Steve Rogers. When Captain America Brave New World comes out, a few things are either going to happen. 1, the movie does so bad, but they continue with Sam Wilson being Captain America. 2, the movie does well, and Sam Wilson continues being Captain America. Or 3, the movie does so bad that they bring back Chris Evans to reprise his role as Captain America, or just bring him in but it's in a different version, one from another universe. At the end of the day, Sam Wilson will never achieve the status, representation, and influence Steve Rogers had as Captain America. It's not about skin color, it's that he hasn't done anything to earn it while being disliked as a character who is so disconnected from the real world. And, in closing, let me ask you a different question to prove my point on this topic. What does everyone call this guy? And that's right, Miles Morales. And what does everyone call this guy? Damn right, Spider-Man. Case closed.